Good morning and welcome to Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Human beings have a limited time and we live according to the clock calendar. But day is the basic unit where we work, enjoy and lead our very life, very existence. And each one of us has just 24-hour day. And yet we find that many people make their day, those 24 hours, extremely well, and others make it a wasted day. Why? And people tell me that they don't have time, which I don't believe. They do not know how to utilize their day. And if you use the day in a proper manner, then it can be a very, very useful and challenging day. And let me tell you one thing. You don't have to work 24 hours a day. No way. You don't have to enjoy 24 hours a day. But if you follow the 4-hour rule which I follow, and I have seen many successful people with whom I have interacted, the president, the prime ministers, CEOs, business magnates, this 4-hour rule is an ideal way to make a day successful. And most of the people with whom I talk, with whom I interact, my go-to conversation topic, and most people's go-to conversation topic is TV. I might open up with, are you watching anything good at the moment? And this opens a half-decent, half-entertaining discussion. But then sometimes my opening salvo falls flat. The other person says something, oh, I've got no time to watch the TV. And that's an answer which bothers me. I'm not very much in love with TV. No. I call it an idiot box. But then, you can't say that it's not no use at all. It's an answer which bothers me. It's laced with a small bit of condensation. If you are watching TV, you must be lazy. No, it's not true. It's a question of prioritizing things in a proper day, and that's fine. We each have our own personal values, personal concerns, and preferences. I've got no time to watch TV. I've got no time to read. Means TV doesn't interest me as much as this or that, or reading doesn't interest me. The fact is that all of us have the same hours in the day, and it's up to us to decide how we spend them. Some people will most certainly have more free hours than others, but for most of us, we need at least a few hours with ourselves to be a better human being, to be a better performer, to be a better person, to be a better relation. And if we have got this 4-hour rule, which we choose to spend those 4 hours, make a difference between success and mediocrity. 4 hours to yourself, whether you call it entertainment, whether you call it looking inside you, whether you call it exercise, or whether you call it attending to your hobby, that 4 hours out of 24 hours. Now look at the anatomy of the day. There are 24 hours in a day. That is 1,440 minutes. If you really like to count your life anyway. So one day would be in hours 24, in minutes 1,440. The average person sleeps around 8 hours. The Dutch sleep the maximum time. The Singaporeans sleep the minimum time. So if you take an average of 8 hours, that leaves 16 waking hours left to spend. And I'm afraid those learn while you're sleeping doesn't work. There are people who say, listen to a TV tape and then go to sleep and you're learning. No. So we need to subtract the 7 or 8 hours a day during which most people work. Those sleepy hours, that work a bit less. So we are down to remaining 9 hours. Much of those 9 hours are taken by the life administration, shopping, housework, unpaid labor, mostly for the women, and eating and drinking. Of course, there are massive cultural differences lacking in that category, in each category. For instance, I was going through a research, our word in the data, and I found that in France, Greece, Italy, and Spain report spending more time eating than people in the most other European countries. In India, eating doesn't get that much of time, maybe hardly 1 hour in a day. In Canada, even less. You eat while you're moving. So the country where people spend the least time and drinking is India, USA, Canada, and such countries. So unsurprisingly, there's a huge disparity how we care work. Unpaid labor is divided among the genders. The women spend 2 to 10 times more time on unpaid work than men. Both go to the office, come back, and the husband quietly says, at least in my culture, well, how about a cup of tea? I'm sitting down, I'm tired, as if the girl is not tired, the wife is not tired. So this has a knock-on effect on how many leisure hours the genders have to spend. For example, in Norway and New Zealand, the difference is almost negligible. And Portugal and in India and Pakistan, men have minimum of 60% more leisure time than women have. And how do they spend that 60% more time, leisure time? By poking their nose in others' affairs, by useless activities. Now, 4-hour rule which I have calculated is to ensure that out of that time which you are wasting, you do what is appropriate for you. For more than half of the population, those hours are wasted away on non-related phone worship. Hey, how are you? What are you doing? And like that. But these are not the people who come back tomorrow as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as innovators. They are not the success stories. Over the last few decades now, a cottage industry has sprung up that examines and dissects the habits and values of the self-made millionaires. And one of the key findings that come up was, again and again, the people who adhere to 4-hour rule. And what is that rule? You spend 1 hour per day on 3 activities: learning, reflecting, and thinking. Learn something new. For at least devote 1 hour to learn something. Learn one thing on reflecting what you have learned. Reflect on it, think on that. Compare your work with what you have learned now. And then the reflecting, what is going to be the future code of action. For example, Benjamin Franklin. He would devote at least 1 hour every day specifically to learn something new. He would rise early, read, write. He would set up his own club of artisans and experimenters. Today, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates. I was talking to Bill Gates once, and when I told him this 4-hour rule, he said, well, I've got a 5-hour rule. The same thing, but he had extended it a bit. The idea is that devoting an hour of yours to education exercises your mind, improves your skill, and rehearses great discipline. If education speaks, 4-hour rules give us both knowledge and skills. So when accepting the wisdom of the 4-hour rules, it can still become very daunting. Let me tell you, after a long day in the office with tired eyes, maybe throbbing headache, most of us like to reach for the TV remote not Tolstoy. And so there are 3 steps to the 4-hour rule. This is the crux. If you follow these 3 steps, you can have 4-hour rule, adhere to that, and make your day useful. First, learn however you can. Reading the print book is one way of learning, but that's not the only way. In fact, if you don't enjoy reading that much, you will not learn, you will learn less. But today, in this new world, there are podcasts, there are audiobooks, there's spoken radio. So they're all great ways to spend your hour. And what's more, the internet is full of educational, entertaining, enlightening long-term articles, which are much more digestible than huge, hand-itching tomes. I go to internet regularly and read on futurism. I read on culture. I read on the cosmopolitan, not politics, because politics even otherwise, I know, history, military, strategy. And can you believe, in the I used to be called a human encyclopedia, which even people call, but I've expanded my knowledge base by at least 40% more than it was. And there's no limit. So spend that much of time. Second, experimenting. Battering yourself does not mean cramming your head with facts. The most successful people in the life are not those who stumbled on some magic treasure in the woods, but those people who tried and failed, tried and failed again. And believe me, success always starts with failure. Success means that first you seek some new ideas and then try something new. Second, when trying something new, do it on a scale where failure is survivable. And sure, don't go the whole hog. Take baby steps. Experimenting always means baby steps. The scientists know it. Third, get the feedback. Learn from your mistakes. And then go ahead. And then try something new. Try something differently. You see, when you experiment, we both have fun and learn a great deal. And let me tell you, when I was a student doing my bachelor's, I received an offer to act in a movie. Of course, I refused it later on, but then the very fact that I was successful in an audition and everything, well, I experimented. And I said, well, this is not my cup of tea. Because much before that, I had Jordan, that the Prime Minister, had sent me to Egypt as his ambassador, youth ambassador. But then it's great fun and great learning. So the third is reflect. Failure is only valuable if it improves the future. No, people say, well, our failure doesn't matter. Many self-help books will tell you that. But no. If you don't learn for the future, to improve your future, then failure is a disaster. And for most of the people who fear failure is that they don't use the failure as a base for the future. If you use it as a base for the future, it's great. The famous story of Robert Bruce and the spider. Try again, fail again, but fail better. That should be the credo. So third part is reflecting. And reflecting would make you that each defeat is closer to victory. So experimenting, increasing your knowledge, experimenting, reflecting. So there are many ways to reflect. For many it can mean keeping a diary or a journal, or 10 minutes spent simply thinking in your mind, meditating. For others, it can mean talking things over and unpacking what has happened. So when you reflect on your days and your mistakes, That is turning failure into learning experience. So why not give this 4-hour rule a try? At the worst, it will make you more interesting in the next family gathering. And at the best, it might make you a few $1,000,000. And that's not to be sneezed at. What I really mean is that these three steps, learning, experimenting, reflecting, and those 4 hours you devote to these three activities, period. And those 4 hours will give you new perception, will ensure that you are a better human being, you are a better performer, better worker, better colleague, better friend, better spouse. And that's what you want, don't you? So accept this 4-hour rule, try to follow it, and you would be able to transform the wasted days into the days of getting better. Thank you.